Yeah.
Okay, fine. Don't you worry. Catch your breath. Okay. So, good morning, everybody. We come to the eighth day, and today is just a few hours left for us to be together, but we continue the journey after the break because success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So, as we just saw this, there's a technical glitch, but that is not fatal. We have mustered all the courage in the world to continue. Continue the journey of learning, teaching, learning, and then again the teaching. So it's an ongoing journey that we have embarked on. Once again, wishing everybody on this platform a very good morning and welcome to yet another session of this beautiful journey of faculty development program on the eighth day. And it is, as you all know by now, pedagogy and research skills development. Today, after having completed 7 days, we all can affirm and confirm that we stand skilled a little more than where we started off. So, to continue this journey with a volley and a team of expertise that we have had, it has your cooperation and initiation has enabled us to keep the journey ongoing at a beautiful tempo. So here again we have another eminent speaker with us, Ms. Meher Janaki Meher, and she is also going to give her expert knowledge that will make us even more enriched and even more transformed for a better take. So now I request Juhi to please welcome our ma'am and guest for the morning session today. Juhi is the assistant professor with us here at Amity School of Languages, Amity University, Maharashtra. Ma'am has got a 5 years experience and has worked as an interpreter and a translator on various projects. She is one of the most active, enthusiastic person that carries the department forward. So we have quite a few young, enthusiastic faculty with us that adds on to the cheer. So we have this young lady welcoming the guest of the day today. So over to you, Juhi.
Yeah, thank you so much, Susan ma'am, for your sweet introduction. Um, so a very good morning to one and all present here. I welcome you all again to the eighth day of this enriching FDP session. And I hope you all have enjoyed learning as much as I did. Today, we have a very distinguished person from the industry with us, Janki Meher ma'am. She holds a master's degree in commerce and law, and she has a postgraduate diploma in human resource development. She brings with her more than 16 years of corporate experience. She has worked for various reputed institutions like World Trade Center, Association of Indian Schools, and many more. Along with that, she also has 11 years of academic experience. She has conducted lectures and workshops in various B schools, law, and fashion institutions as well. Her lectures were on a wide array of topics. To name a few, I would just like to list down a couple of them: anti ragging, prevention and prohibition of ragging, prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace, corporate social responsibility, intellectual property right, vigilance awareness, and many more. Today, she is here to guide us and help us learn about the basics of IPR, intellectual property rights. In the modern era, intellectual property rights play a significant role. In a digitalized world, there stands a higher risk of creative ideas getting stolen without the consent of the author. IPR, intellectual property rights, is one of the sources of security for intangible properties which are still open to the public and can be quickly replicated by anyone. We are hoping that after this session, we'd be well acquainted with the concept and basics of patents, copyrights, and IPR in general. On this note, I would like to welcome our speaker. Janaki Mahar, who has actually joined in from her daughter's ID due to some technical glitch. So, yeah, ma'am, over to you. Yes.
Yeah. A very good evening and namaste, as we call it in the Indian standard. Shuprabhat to all of y'all. And as I can see, y'all have already carried on a very long session of different topics, and maybe today would be your last day, as Susan ma'am said. So I hope even today's session would be more informative, which you're looking ahead with regards to IPR. I'll try my best, though this was at a very short notice where I wanted to tried getting getting together a few important basic facts so that a good idea could be generated, and those who are a little bit aware about the IPR concept could get little more insight on it. So to begin with, IPR, that is intellectual property rights. I don't want to straight away start with these slides. We just leave it to the first slide. I want to just begin our session basically. If we have a small paper and a pen, a small exercise to do with, I need to begin with this, rather than starting with this slide straight away. A very simple thing. I'll try to make this topic very simple, and so that you can understand in a very layman language. Why don't we just grab a small one sheet and a pencil or a paper, whatever, anything which you have, a marker, could be just a crayon, just to write down something, or it could be just memorize, no need of even jotting it down, just to give you a little more better understanding and the flow of the topic. This will be useful for that. So shall we begin? Okay. First of all, I would just suggest think of yourself as a business person, and just give yourself a business and a name for that business basically. For example, as I can see, Amity University is the name, and you would like to start a college. I'm just giving an example. You can have any business. It could be food, garments, publishing house. So two things. One is give a name to your business and what type of business you would like to go in for. Please identify these two things. First, like I would say, I will open an institution or a college for fashion or law. The area would be teaching, law subject, or could be designing. And the name I have selected is Amity. And I can see a logo next to Amity. So just have a notional thinking that you have a business, you have started a business, okay? A name given, ABC Limited. You have a logo to it. And just be clear about the business you would like to have. It can be anything. Is this done, these three things? Once we identify the name, the purpose of the business, the logo may be just a simple logo. Just you can just draw something, or something, just to give it, like the Amity University has a logo, the name, and you identify the business. Now, what is the secret or the importance of your business? What could be your business plan proposal which you will hide from, or that could be a core thing for your business? Maybe example, McDonald's, they have burgers, so they have specialty in burgers. They would like to keep the content as secret. So the formula of making the burger could be a secret. You may have some sort of a dress designing. So you may just select that very quickly. One, you will not disclose it to somebody. The purpose of the business will be there. Then what you're going to do for the business, you have to identify that. So these are the 4-5 things you have done. Okay. So now what we are doing is, what we all have done right now is we are using your intellect. Okay, you have created something. One, you are a creator. If you have a publishing house, if you're a writer, you will write books. So now you are a creator. If you have a industrial, for example, industrial product, what you will do is you will invent something. Maybe for example, a laptop or a mobile phone company. So now you are inventing something. So now you are an inventor also. So these are the skills which humans have right from the inception. If I can take you much behind, Ravana wrote a stotra just to impress Lord Shiva for his praise. So now he has written something. In today's normal modern world, we normally call it somebody has written a poem for somebody. So that was a stotra which he devoted it. So if in today's world somebody is writing something for a poem, that is his ideas, his original idea, his expression of ideas, which is being noted down in a form of a material, in a form of a book or an essay or a paragraph in some of the books. So you can understand that somebody is creating, somebody is inventing. So these are the very important words which I'm talking about, creators and the inventors. One is creation when it comes to the creativity field. Other is the inventions or discoveries. So these 2-3 words which I'm talking or I'm trying to focus on is something to do with your IPR. Also, Rishi Ved, when Rama and Mahabharata was written, these were also granthas, so books. So somebody is writing a novel or a book. Okay, so he becomes the owner. So these people are creative people. Okay. So right from the ancient age, you can say histories, we humans have the capacity to use our brains. Okay, so this is one of the assets. Now this is an intangible asset in general. When I say tangible assets, those are, for example, I could say your assets which are fixed could be your plant, machinery, your business. If you are going for industries, obviously you will have a land, plant, machinery, buildings, which is tangible, which you can touch. So those fall under your property, it's called the assets. So those are protected by law. So these were the modern era when industries came into picture. So the tangible things, the assets, have a place in your balance sheet because they fetch you money. If you sell it, you get them money. You can feel it, you can touch it. Sooner, slowly, they say people started, obviously they started understanding the value of intelligence. That is how the intangible assets, which is called the intellectual property used by our creativity, our brains, people started understanding the value slowly by slowly. Trade started, people started moving around. This is how people started. In Europe, they started the first industry patents in general. It was not actually legalized, but this was the first, you can say, where the origination of realizing why patent registration is required under IPR, intangible. A lot of industries coming up. In Italy, basically, the copyright started. Slowly, the UN, which is called the WTO. WTO में UN में the Burns Convention supported the Copyrights Act. So as the world globalization from 1950s to around 1980s, there was nothing called as intangible property, nothing known as intellectual property rights. Once people started moving, a lot of invention, people started thinking and discovering things, new inventions were being made. Yeah, of course, before we had a lot of inventions and discoveries made. Initial eras were discoveries. Discovery is something which was existing and which we found out. So we could discover new things that needed to be protected. So when you talk about any of the property, we feel, yes, if this is my property, I get some economical or financial gains out of it. So when you feel that, yeah, my asset belongs to me, this is my hard-earned asset. When I sell this asset or when I give it on lease rent or somebody else is using my property, I get the benefit. I reap the benefits. But it had happened so with regard to intangible asset, which falls under the category of intellectual property, that is also your property. Okay, but people did not realize that yes, we can encash on those. For example, every state in India basically have their own heritage or own culture wherein they have these fine arts which they do, the business, small scale industries. Okay, and they used to have a small earnings, the pottery or the wooden things, bamboo they would use more often, or maybe the kalamkaris, the paintings, whatever they would do, those were all the intellectual property. In the sense, if they could give it to somebody, even the poems which they write, the lyrics which they write, a poem or a book written, if that could be converted into something else, there were commercial exploitation of your intellectual property. People realized the importance of intellectual property like a normal property. When any company makes a balance sheet, basically, they have these columns of assets and liability. Under your assets column, you normally like to put in your capital, fixed assets, all the land, machinery, fixture. Nowadays, you have your intangible name, you have your copyright, patent, trademark. That is your goodwill. That is what you have earned. So that can also fetch you a good amount of money. Now, IPR in general is divided into two sections. One is basically for the industrial purposes. Second, it is divided into slides we can take later on, because this is, we can come back to the slides at the end. First, we'll understand, because I have given you a small workshop. With the help of this small work which I have given you, you will try to correlate. Now, when I said give a name to your company and the logo, how will you protect that? What is the use of that? I will now give you an example. MIT University is the name. And if I take where I teach NIFT. So NIFT, we know there is two brand, basically, two identities of a company. So you need two different name. So your brand name, that needs to be protected. So where will you protect? What will you seek protection? Now there are different IPRs. So the name which you have selected and the logo which you have made for your company will basically, where you can secure it is under your trademarks. Trademark law provides you those benefits. For example, KFC, McDonald's. Now these two, you know this is KFC, you know this is McDonald's. So these are the two logos, two names. So two separate two business entities, you have the trademark. This is the importance of trademark registration. So nobody should use the name. You have registered, nobody should use a very prominent name, misuse your name. You will get protection under the law. So series of legal rights are provided under your intellectual property rights. So the trademark will protect your name. That is how the brand name is created. Second, I had told you, you have to have some secret mention. So if you have done some invention, you can protect your invention by taking protection under your patents law. If you're a publication house, if you're writing some good books, novel, you can seek protection under Copyright Act. So you should first understand that there are different segments in your intellectual property rights. So under which of these different acts are you going to seek registration and protection? That you should be very clear. So all the creative fields will go, for example, your sound recording, movies, filmmakings, certain basic softwares, those protection, you will get it under the Copyright Act. All the creativity, the paintings, your theaters, dramas, they all fall under the protection of Copyright Act. Design could be the shape of the bottle, industrial design. There is one more aspect. If you have a product for your business and the shape defines it, okay, the bottle of Coca-Cola may be different from Sprite, it could be different from some other beverages. So these are the fine shapes, the line, the contours, which could be protected under. For example, a toothbrush could be, the designs of the car could be under industrial designs. So where will you seek protection? Not under copyright. Something which is used for industrial purposes, products which are manufactured in an industry where more than 50 products are manufactured for commercial use, will seek protection under your Industrial Designs Act and not under Copyright Act. So these are the different segments which we'll be studying here when it comes to IPR. So the stages which we understood it, how IPR, when I say, I will also differentiate between the tangible and intangible assets, because even to buy a house, even to make a company or an industry, we invest money. So we need returns. Similarly, when you're writing a book, when you're creating a good art piece, you will all need some returns. It should be awarded. So there are different moral right and financial rights which are given to copyright. There is a term called a fair use, in the sense you can make use of somebody else's creativity without making payment, but to a selected extent. If you're making an earning out of it, you will have to pay compensation to the real creator, that is the owner. Okay. So this was the basic two difference when we talk about property. One is a tangible property, your jewelry, your car, the possession. Then you have the intellectual property, which you have earned. Both is earned by humans, by your hard-earned money. So both should be secured. Your tangible properties are secured by insurances, various type of insurance, fire, earthquake, different types of covers are there. So government is making an effort to protect those. So similarly, when globalization, the era of globalization started, a lot of companies started pouring in. There was a lot of competition. There was a big demand for these type of protection. Then we have copyrights, we have trademarks, we have patents, we have industrial designs. These are the legal protection given by the government to various creators and inventors. Also, we have geographical indication. What do you mean by geographical indication? Those products which are manufactured or processed in a particular area, whatever is the importance of the area. It could be the Nagpur orange, it could be the mangoes, Alfonso mangoes, the silk, Banarsi silks, it could be the Kolhapuri chappals. So certain ornaments, certain saris, basmati rice, it could be the Mysore sandal soaps. So these fall under the category of GI, which is called the geographical indication. Now this is not a personal right. This right is protected to a group of association because it is pertaining to a particular land. It is being produced or manufactured in a particular area, and the products which are being used is of a particular state, okay, where it is grown. That is why the Darjeeling tea, for example, you cannot grow those tea in the Assam tea. So these are the importance of geography, where it is grown. Okay. These were the few things. You also have plant variety, integrated system, circuit systems which are being protected with regard to IPR. but more so common are these few ones which I spoke about. Then there are confidential information, there could be trade secrets, but there are no specific acts for protecting the trade secrets. Okay, so when you did this exercise, when I'm going through the slides, one by one, we can start correlating the definition, okay, and how the things moves, okay, a little bit. So this will give you more clarity. As you have selected your subject, you may have trade secret, as I said. If I give you an example of a service provider, it could be the Jio TV, Jio brand, which has their customers list, which could be a trade secret for them. It could be a confidential information, right? So these are the various things. I gave you how it started and what are intellectual property rights. We'll now go on for the definitions. We can move on to the slides, and wherein we can discuss few case studies and do a little bit of exercise further. Okay. Yeah. So when we talk about the intellectual property, is nothing but the creation of the mind. As I said, it is the ideas, discoveries, inventions, which can be commercially exploited. You can earn out of the discoveries you have made, inventions you have made, and the ideas. So copyright normally protects not the idea, but how you express. Two people can get a same idea at the same time. More than two people can have same ideas at a given point of time. But the difference is, how are you going to express the ideas? Okay, the expression of the ideas are being is the originality, and you can seek protection of the expression of ideas, not the ideas per se. I hope I'm making myself a little clear and I'm focusing on these words. So intellectual property rights is a series of legal rights which an inventor or a creator gets by law. So that provides protection for different types of invention, designs, brand names. Brand name is nothing but the trade name or the logo which you have set, or your original creation. Next slide. Now there are, as I said, there are two branches of your intellectual property. One is your industrial thing, second is your copyright. When it comes to industrial, you have the GI, trademark, integrated circuits, confidential undisclosed information, confidential secrets, or the trade secrets. Anything which is being designed, developed, researched, done for the benefits of public by large, for the purpose of commercial exploitation. In the sense, those fall under the category of industrial design. If I create a small floral design in a piece of paper for a pillow cover, something like that, just for 10 pieces or few pieces, only for a particular group of people, not for sale, those designs will get protection under copyright, those designs, and not under industrial designs, because it's only for a limited group of people, less than 50 could be, and not for commercial purpose. If you want to seek protection of that particular artwork for the pillow cover, more than 50 copies of that pillow cover needs to be printed. It has to go through an industrial process. Only then can you get the protection under your Industrial Design Act. This is the difference between copyright and industrial design. We need to be very clear. It is the same artwork which I have done, or it is a painting which I have done, and it's being used, okay. But the difference is whether it's being used only for a specific purpose for small people, not for sale. So it will be registered. If you feel like registering it, it should be protected under copyright, not under industrial design. So these, therefore, we have two separate branches. Now, when I talk about the physical property, tangible and intangible. Tangible, as I said, it could be land, building, plant, machinery, which people can see it, view it. Under immaterial or intangible will be your trademark, your logo, the name of the company. It can be a sign, it can be a symbol, it can be a slogan, whatever. Next. Okay. When you come to tangible or physical property, if you have a car, can be used by one person, it is limited basically. If you have two cars, maybe two people can drive it. So it has a limited access. But when it comes to IPR, for example, IT software designs a software, okay, which can be used at a given point of time by n number of users in different places world over. So that is the power of your intellectual property. Okay, so can be used by various people. With regards to theft, of course, a little difficult when it comes to physical property. Yeah, but when it comes to intangible or immaterial things, all my important presentations, my data, my IPR, maybe if I've written a book, I will store it in a software. Okay, so very easily somebody can copy it and just send a mail, WhatsApp it. You know, it becomes under IPR, it becomes a little more easier. I can just copy somebody's design line. You know, somebody has kept it somewhere, the designs and all. I can just click a snap or just copy it, you know. So the IPR, the intellectual property, somebody can really copy it. That is why it needs more protection. That is why we have the MOUs, which is called Memorandum of Understanding for the safety of it. We have agreements signed. We have these non-disclosure agreement, confidential clauses put up in these MOUs to protect. So there are trade secrets. So people have to really keep it very safely when it comes to intellectual property, because yes, the theft can be at a very large scale, and it can, for example, if I set a question paper, and just one person gets that copy, somehow it can be distributed it to so many people. Many years back, it used to be in the form of hard copies. So very selected people could actually take the copies and, you know, just taking a different example. But in today, due to these technologies and all, it can be so far spread out. So we really need to focus more on your IPR. That is your intangible property. That's your hard earned money, and your creativity needs to be really protected. Next. Yeah, you can see a balance sheet wherein the intangible assets are also valued over here, where your property, plant, equipment, all your assets, when it comes to balance sheet, it does have importance. So both your properties may be valued. This happens at the time of mergers, acquisition, when there is a takeover, when you want to sell your business to somebody, you want to purchase. What you will see is what is the value of the intangible asset, because in today, as I said, in today's world, the value of intangible property is become much more than your tangible physical property, because somehow your intangible property is much more. It is your goodwill nowadays, because a lot of service industries are coming up. So anything which is created, your intellectual has created, is more valuable. So when you buy your business, sell your business, or the asset value depends more on your intellectual property, basically intangible. Yes. Next slide, please. As I said, patents, this is more so for industry use. A patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention, which is a product. It could be a hardcore product, or it could be a process. How to do that? So process of a grinder could be in a different format. So either a product could be invented and a new process could be invented that provides a new and non-obvious way of doing something, or may offer a new and non-obvious technical solution to a problem. So under Patents Act, who is affected? You should understand. Normally the creative people are not much interested. So the people more into industry with plant machineries, they are the ones who will seek protection of the IPR under Patents Act. So a patent is exclusive right granted to an inventor to use himself and commercially exploit his invention. In the sense, today if I'm a person who can invent a better mobile phone than Samsung, I can either sell it on my brand name or give my rights to Samsung company. He will pay me. That is called giving your ownership right to somebody else. So the Act lays down all the necessary provisions related to the grant, ownership, term, exploitation, revocation of the patents. Next. Coming to trademark. Now we understood when you are doing this exercise, patent was something if you people have selected your business for with regarding to watchmaking or something like industries. So you may go for protection under patent. Trademark is the brand name in general language. So what is my brand name? My brand logo. So trademark is any word. For example, Tata Motors. It could be one word Tata. The name could be Tata Motors. There could be a symbol, the T which you see, or it could be the Audica circle, which has those 3 circles. No, ma'am, you can go behind the first 2 slides only. Trademark, yeah. So this could be various devices which you're using, the combinations which somebody uses with regard to your trademark. Okay, so to identify goods or services of 2 different people, we use the trademark. So trademarks are vital aspect of for businesses since they are used to distinguish the goods and services of one business from those of another. So all the variety of legalities associated are covered under Trademark Act 1999. Next. Yes, ma'am. So these are few selection of trademarks. When you just see the logo itself at times, you know this belongs to this particular industry. This is the service sector. Just the logo itself, that it is an automobile company, that it is a fabric related or textile business or a jewelry business. So this is the importance of trademark. It is basically a face, a recognition or a name for 2 different businesses. So that needs to be highly protected. Next, ma'am. Now, as I said, designs is nothing but more or less similar to copyrights. It is creativity, more for the creative people. But only the word when you add industrial, we come to know that it is the manufacturing will be in an industry. The processing will be as per the industries. They do the processing under the machinery, plant, whatever it could be. And the copies which will be generated, basically, which will be manufactured, has to be in bulk. Only those people can seek registration or protection under the Industrial Design Act. Now, what do you mean by, again, industrial design? It is just simply a design. It is the appearance of the whole or part of a product resulting from feature of it, maybe particularly the lines, the contours, color, shape, texture, or the material of the product itself, the ornamentation, you can make out. Maybe the parachute bottle is of a particular shape. The parachute oil which we use is of a blue color, a particular bottle. If there's no name given, generally people would know that it is a hair oil. Brand could be Parachute. So this is how people would like to bifurcate their product line. They would more concentrate on the textures, the shape, the color of their product to bifurcate it. So the Act was implemented in the wake of growth in industrial development. It safeguards the artistic aspects, that is the designs of the industrial product. Yes. So these are few industrial products, the designs, which are normally production is on bulk, but yes, there's a lot of creativity, artwork, maybe similar to somebody who does an artwork. Yes, ma'am. Coming to trade secrets. As I said, this is important for many businesses nowadays. But yeah, there is no separate act defined by the government so far. Under the various, we have seen the different acts for the rights. Trade secret is basically the only act which is governed under the law of contract. So trade secrets or confidential business informations are any information that can be used in the operation of a business and that is sufficiently valuable and secret to afford economic advantage over others. As I gave you, the client list for the service industry is the most important list. They have their phone numbers, telephones, email IDs, and various other personal data of every individual. That is their customers list. So that needs to be kept quiet. Coca-Cola, for example, they have certain content which they keep it in a very secret place. McDonald's, what did they use for your product, the burgers, and how do they, what are the usages? They will not disclose it. So those are the recipes which they could keep it as a secret when it comes to food industry. For software industry, of course, the different types of softwares or designing programs they develop. Those are for the IT sector guys, so on and so forth. For the designing students, of course, the designs which they have created, initial design artwork which they create for their dresses and all, is also the secret which can be kept. Yes. We can go to the next slide, ma'am. Yeah, there is no statute or legislation that governs the protection of trade secrets in India as of now, but it is enforced through the contract law, Indian Contract Act 1874, under the principles of equity or by way of common law action for breach of confidence. That's it. Next. Yeah, coming to GI, which is the Geographical Indication of Goods Act 1999. It is nothing but a sign used on goods that have a specific geographical origin and possesses qualities or reputation that are due to their place of origin. I said anything which is grown on a particular, so some of the examples are here. The basmati rice, the Banarsi silks, there could be silver ornaments, Kolhapuri chappals, oranges. Every state will have their own specific aromas, flavors. So those are called as your artwork, basically, the type of costume. So those are defined under geographical indication. The government will give you protection. There has to be an association, group of people will register under GI. Yeah, next. Yeah, the topic which could be relevant to most of us when it comes to copyright. So the Copyright Act, which was enacted in India, which we adopted in 1957. It was first started in, maybe the outline given was in WTA, the Berne Conventions, as we know. Now, copyright in general, if you register, if you are a member country in UN and a member of the Berne Convention, automatically all the members are registered. You get protection anywhere and everywhere. This is the only intellectual property which per se gets protection under copyright without registering, basically. Once I complete a book, it is, I'm the author, I'm the owner, I get the right to it. But yes, that's the unfortunate thing. If suppose somebody copies it, I will have to show or maybe prove it how I am the real owner. So if you think somebody can exploit my book and somebody can misuse it, and if I need, I should register it under the Copyright Act. Once I register it, I get an upper hand when it comes to filing of suit in any court of law. That's the difference. Otherwise, in general, copyright is defaultly protected, basically. Okay, you don't have to really register trademarks and copyright, but for the safety purpose, as they say, it's always better to register it, as they say. But law per se says not really needed in case of trademark and copyright, but if you do it, this will save a lot of legal hassles in future. If you feel you're in an industry which is very competitive, and your work is really good, where people can really make use or misuse your things, so go for a copyright protection. That is what is good, they say. So copyright is a legal term describing rights given to creators for their literary and artistic work. It protects the creator of the works by prohibiting the use of such work by third parties without the consent of the copyright holder. Okay, next. So what are the rights which you get, or it should not be exploited? Like as a owner, okay, I have a authority to reproduce it. I can make a lot of photocopies of it. I can scan it into computer. I can sell it to somebody. I can have a public performance of my book or poem, whatever it is. I can go for printing form, electronic format. I can translate it in many languages. The books can be translated in many languages. I can broadcast it in web series. I can maybe sell it to TV serials, different satellites. And this is how through my IPR, through my creation, I can earn a lot of revenue. If suppose somebody is trying to exploit that, I can file a suit and seek damages for the same. So only the owner of copyright may do these things with a creation or authorize others to do. I would like to add over here, but if there is a company who has hired on salary a person who has to write certain books or chapters, then the person is no more the owner. It is the company or the institution, they are the owners. So they have the right to do whatever. So here in this case, the person himself has given his right to the company. So here he cannot fight, okay, if the company. So any research is done by an employee, basically, any creativity, inventions, discoveries made by an employee goes to the employer. So employer is the legal or the rightful owner of it, because you are being paid and you have been given an appointment to do and carry out such work on behalf of the employer. So this should be very clear. Yeah, next slide, please. As I said, under copyright, it will protect the form of expression, not the idea per se. See, I may get 10 ideas. Unless I document the ideas, okay, it cannot be protected under the Copyright Act. I have to document my ideas or my creativity in some form. Documentation is very much needed. First thing. Sitting, and also ideas can be common. For example, many people can have same. One person sitting in US, another in UK. A simple example is your vaccine. So when researchers were doing their research all over the world, they could have a similar formula. Okay, similar formula for the COVID-19 vaccine. So nobody can claim a copyright, this is my idea only I can get the idea, this should be protected. No. So ideas, research can be common, but how do you express it? The form of expression is protected. So it does not protect unexpressed idea one. Okay, and there is nothing in the notion of copyright to prevent a second person from producing an identical results. Yes. We can move on to the. So the important word over here is originality. When it comes to copyright, when you're going to register your document to the registrar of copyrights, they will first see how these are the parameters for the protection. So your work or the material provided should be done. You should use your independent skill, your own labor. You may refer something, but you have to use some skills and labor of your own knowledge or judgment. This is what the Act talks about. It should be original. You may have same ideas, but how you express it, that is what matters. Next. Yeah, what kind of work is covered by copyright? Yeah, these are certain points we will see. Next slide, please. So under Copyright Act, what are covered or protected? People writing novels, poems, making plays, your references works, information in the newspapers given. Next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. So different computer programs, databases, your musical composition, movies, your paintings, all these are creative works which can be protected under the Copyright Act. Next, please. Different sculptures, the architecture used, all your advertisements, the communication people making the advertisements, your map, technical drawings. So all these are your intellectual property. Now just taking a simple example of painting, if I may say, if I'm a painter and if I have made some painting, how do I understand whether I can go for protecting it? So an artistic work, whether or not it possesses any quality of artists, to be entitled to copyright protection, painting should be an original one. It should originate from the painter and not a mere copy of another painting. Painting must be on a surface of some kind. So all your ideas when it comes to creativity, I may have hundreds and thousands of ideas. Okay, I may sit at home, jot think, but that is not a copyright. You may not file a suit. And so you find one fine morning you get up, something which you have thought somebody has come up and same idea. So just mere thinking of an idea is not important. It needs to be documented. That is more important. Only then will you get this protection under Copyright Act. We have to understand that. Next one. So there are two rights, as I said, when it comes to your copyrights. Now, your economic right, of course, when I have a hard-earned money, I have bought a big house. When I sell it or give it on rent, I will get some money out of it. So there's an economical benefit or a reward. Also, there is a moral binding to it. So going here. Yeah, this slide, so we know we get a financial reward and we get payment, royalty is being paid. Next slide. These are the two things. Now, coming here. So the owner can authorize himself. As I said, I can sell it. What I can authorize is you can reproduce in various forms. You can make a book, movie, translate it in different languages. You can broadcast it. So these are the things by which you can earn a lot of money from your intellectual property. You can make hundreds of copies to distribute. You can make a public performance in the theaters, maybe. Broadcasting, other communication to public, translation to other languages. You can make the novel to a screenplay, whatever. So these are the methods which you can earn commercially. So that is the creator's economic right, which is protected under the copyright. And it gives the same creator power to prevent others from misusing and doing all these activities. So that is why there's a slash. It authorizes the owner and it prevents also others should not misuse your stuff. That is why you can seek redressal in the court of law under the Copyright Act. Next. What are your moral rights? Would include the author's right to object to any distortion, mutilation, or other modification to his work that might be harmful to his honor or reputation. By what do you mean by this is, for example, there is a case study also to this when it comes to if a model basically has lent his picture, I can take you can take the big B, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Suppose if he has lent his photograph to one of the advertising agency to use his photograph for advertising a product. Okay. Now he does not know for what product this person would be using the image of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Suppose this person sticks Mr. Amitabh Bachchan's photograph in an advertisement which is immoral, unethical, or against the laws. So what he will say, he may fight. I have already seek permission of Mr. Bachchan and he has only given me the photograph. Na? So where the question arises, I have paid him the money, so now I'm the owner, I can do whatever it is. No. The law protects at this time, comes into picture and says no. Something which is against the law. So Amitabh Bachchan has not given him the photograph stating that you stick wherever you want or do something which is unethical. No, he has not given permission. He has given permission for using his pictures for advertisement purpose, which should be ethical and moral. So these things are, that is why copyright will protect your moral right. That is what it is saying. So if you are lending your face, your image, your painting for a legal purpose, okay, so you have a moral right to stop the other person from saying, moving the quote and saying, kindly remove all the photograph, pictures or pamphlets. What you are doing is not good. Suppose he may not like, maybe he may not like smoking or alcohol and he has put it over there. He can go to court and say that he didn't tell me that he is taking my picture with regard to these things. Okay. He may, this is not totally immoral or ethical. I'm just giving you, if he has a slight hint, he might tell ki nahi, you may use my photograph for better purposes and not for these purposes. So this is the moral right which is protected of a creator or artist under the Copyright Act. Okay, so you may have written some good poems, but when you're screen playing that poem or a song in an unethical or immoral manner, you may say ki no, kindly you can move the court and tell them ki stop the screening of this song because I don't like it. It is not been picturized properly. So the law will protect you. It will be the creator who will win the case because it is by statute. Chalo, thank you. We can go to the next slides. Yeah, I had spoken about something called as fair use. Normally, we can, when we are making in-house presentations, when it is for the purpose of teaching young students, we can make use of somebody else's work without their permission. If I'm making a huge earning, okay, if I'm making a huge earning, then I am liable to pay royalty to the person whose image I'm using, image, song, whatever stuff I'm using of a creative person and I'm earning out of it. And if it is over the value of the creations, it is my duty to pay him. If I don't pay the creator money, he can move the court. But wherein it is more for charity purpose, it is for learning purpose, inspiration purpose, and there is no economical loss to the creator, we can use somebody else's creative work just to make somebody understand in a small classroom. So that is permitted under the Copyright Act. So you will not be hit by the copyright. That is what a fair use means. Yeah. Now, what is the importance of IP in the field of innovation? Now, when we say innovation, it is always a combination of both art and science. Okay, it's never apart. That's the magic and beauty of it. So why was the need for IPR protection? What was the reason? These are the points we can go through. How we started to think. So what is IPR protection necessary? So when it was the time, the technologies were changing very rapidly. When when the typewriters were changed to electronic typewriters, then came the era of computers, then came the era of laptops. So that is what is called as technological change. So the era started rapidly changing. The product life cycle was becoming shorter. Investment on research, production, marketing had taken a upper hand basically. People were spending a lot of money because there was competition. You used to see a lot of ads, a lot of hoardings in press, TV, various journals. You could see a lot of competition. Then we needed a lot of professionals where there was highly skilled people were required. that was the era which we are seeing. We are growing, and as the industry grows up faster and faster, we need IPR protection. As I said, fixed things which are tangible, difficult, it may not move faster, but when it comes to intellectual property, when it comes to IPR, your secrets, your confidential information is basically spread out very fast. So the industry is becoming competitive. So we really needed this protection. The act, all these acts, and still we are coming up with few more changes in the acts. Next. Now, what could be the misuse of the rights of a creator in the business environment? We'll take these few points. Yes, ma'am. Next slide. So a competitor hires your top scientist by luring for money. He gets a jump start on your invention by many years, again saving huge amount of money. So this could be a lot of misuse. Somebody researching for many years on a particular thing, and he's going to just get into it, and you just snatch him from your competitors. This is misuse. Next, a competitor imitates your brand names, imitates your brand name, and tries to gain a market share riding on your popularity. Now, there is a case study which we will discuss when it comes to brand name. That is your trademark, or the trade name is your brand name. Okay, by taking their name, you become popular. A competitor copies your design lines and brings out the garment line in much lesser time and with far less expense. Obviously, if you're copying the designs of somebody else's, there could be two different huge brands, Fab India, or could be Biba, two competitors, or Pantaloons could be. Some designers might just take your design line for the summer collection or winter collection, whatever it is. So that's the misuse done in the business environment. A competitor gains access to your work and puts in a claim on it as his own work in the eyes of the law. This will ruin the changes you have been claimed as the author of the work and making earnings out of you. So this happens most of the times. A song written, taken by somebody else, a story written, taken by somebody else, and it's converted into a TV serial, or it is converted into some sort of a media, OTP. All these things keep on. That is a digital era, and you see lots of things, misuse, unethical stuffs which we face in the business environment. So we have these laws. We can go to the court, you can approach the authorities and get redressed. Next one. Yeah, what is the importance and necessity of IPR? It will provide a lot of incentive to the individual for new creations, new artwork, it could be an invention. It will provide due recognition, material reward to the creator inventor. It will ensure the availability of genuine and original product, because there is a lot of copies which comes into the market, the first copy, second copy, third copy. Those are the things which are happening in today's world. It will enhance competitiveness. Of course, two brands competing, we win because they will try to give you the best quality, the best price. If there's only one person in the market, you have monopoly. But if there are two or three same brands, so we will have a proper check on the quality also, and they will try to pull the clients and give better services. That is what we hope for it. This will eliminate the unfair practices, unfair trade practices, and it will protect your brand value. So IPR protection is really required in today's competitive world, where there's a lot of advertisement, there's a lot of branding, there's a lot of research going on, a lot of money is being thrown when it comes to, if you see your 1 second or 2 seconds ad will earn you a lot of crores of money to the advertisers. So people are looking out for mass scale marketing and branding of their products, basically. That is why today IPR, that is an intangible property, is really earning a lot of money and value for all of us. Next. Yeah, the remedies against infringement. So when any person infringes the rights of the owner, there can be a suit action for infringement. in the district court having jurisdiction to try the suit, or they can move the high court and appeal further if not satisfied. There could be two types. Normally, IPR is neither civil nor a criminal branch. It will depend on the damages which has happened. So civil and criminal prosecution could be possible in case of infringement of trademarks and copyright when there are simple damages done where there is a loss of trade value. So those will fall under civil. But if the person has done and gone to an extent of, wherein there's a loss of life, they will be tried under criminal prosecution. Okay, so these are the two different streams. So a suit for infringement of patent or industrial design, they may obtain an injunction, that is, they will stop the other party refraining the infringer from using the patent, or damages, they can ask for demand damages, or on account of profit, the money, that is the penalty they can ask for it. Yes, next. Yeah, we'll move on to a very simple case study if we are ready. All of you all may be having a small paper and a pen. We can go to the next slide. This is the case study. I'll just discuss the case study with you people, 4 or 5 case study. Then we'll go for a small exercise sort of a thing. So Mr. Sunil Darshan, he is a proprietor of film production company Shri Krishna. He is a film producer and a director. So he had filed a suit against Google and YouTube and the US parent somewhere around 2011. So this matter went on in the district court of Gurgaon for 8 years basically. And what was the charges Mr. Sunil Darshan said? He said that there was an infringement on his copyright in respect of sound recording, cinematography films, audiovisual songs. He has not made any or not given any license or authority to the users, that is Google and YouTube. They have not signed any agreement with Mr. Darshan to showcase his songs or recording on their particular sites. This is what Darshan had to, he was the appellant basically. He said the unauthorized downloaders and defendants were sharing the ad revenue generated, that is the money, from the unauthorized exploitation of the copyrighted works, causing financial loss to Mr. Sunil. So Mr. Sunil rightfully approached the court and said there is one, financial loss. Second, they are misusing there is an infringement of copyright and there is a misuse. So I should be compensated. So what did the court say? Can we move on to the next slide? The award given was, so after hearing both the parties, the court agreed and said, yes, there was a violation, there was an infringement. And so the damages the court awarded was rupees 50,000 to Mr. Darshan. Google and YouTube jointly had to pay him this damages. Okay, so here in this case, Mr. Darshan won the case and they had to pay him certain damages. Maybe it was just one song, so the amount was around 50. Had it been a higher value thing, they would have to pay more damages. So this is how the IPR is. The Copyright Act protects the creator's inventions, your property. Next, ma'am. We'll go to the second case study. Yeah, Mr. Simon Wadekar versus Netflix. Here again, in the facts of the case was the present suit was instituted upon the basis of an allegation that the defendant, that is Netflix, had copied the literary work of Mr. Samir. Samir is a plaintiff, and converted the same into a web series. So Netflix converted Mr. Samir's literary work into a web series without his consent, thereby infringing his copyright. So this was the charges made by Samir on Netflix. The main contention raised by the plaintiff, that is Mr. Samir, was that there were several similarities between his work and the web series, and that he had previously shared his work with an individual who was a known associate of the defendant, that is Netflix. So he told to the court that he had written something and he had shared those content with one of the person who was affiliated to Netflix. Hence, he claimed copyright infringement and sought an injunction restraining, that is, against the release of the web series. So, of course, this matter went to court. There were a lot of discussion. But what was the outcome of this case? We'll see in the next slide. What did the court held? The Bombay High Court scrutinized both the work and concluded that the similarities were not sufficient to declare the web series as a copy of the literary work of the plaintiff, that is Mr. Sameer. So after a lot of arguments, after placing of evidences, court did not feel that the literary work of Mr. Sameer was same. The similarity that arose were merely related to the concept and no infringement could be claimed for the same. Further, the court held that the mere fact that the plaintiff, that Sameer, had shared his work with the associate of Netflix defendant was not enough to establish a prima facie case of copyright infringement. So thus, the application for injunction was dismissed and the release of the web series was permitted. So in the second case, somehow when the court thought, like we always say in copyright, what is protected is the expression of ideas, not necessarily the idea. So two persons may have similar ideas, similar thoughts. How you're expressing it? So that will be a very fine line which will bifurcate it. So you have to be very careful when you're filing a suit also, not necessarily you will win always. Because rightfully, many people or many movies, the writers could get a lot of thoughts from the story of Mahabharata, like the two brothers, step brothers, family fights, the love, all these things. So the stories could be depicted from an original story, maybe the Ramayana, four brothers, or could be Mahabharata. So these things, everybody, maximum people can have the same thing. So just to file a suit, there are many such cases of companies nowadays, because there is a fight of brand fights, you can say, image fighting, brand image fighting. Many companies are into unnecessary filing suits, under Copyrights Act. So this is what is being seen. So court has to be really very careful. Basically, they have to really think over it, whether the rights are really being infringed. You just cannot charge somebody, for General Copyright Act. Next one, we'll go to the other case study. Yeah, this is another ISKCON, the International Society for, we know this ISKCON temple, which is a very popular spiritual institutions as we know it for. So the present suit was filed before the High Court for alleged trademark infringement and passing off. Now, as I told you, trademark is very important. Your brand name is very important when it comes to. So if I may explain this, suppose if I can explain this and compare it with Amity University. Now, Amity is a very big brand name. And suppose I open Amity Apparels, so I know I can use or misuse. I know I will get popularity because Amity University is a big brand name. So I will purposely, use a blue and yellow color and use the word Amity Apparels so that people may get that I am affiliated to somewhere affiliated to give that idea or misconception to use your name mileage, that is called, or maybe passing little bit. It doesn't happen this way. It has to normally when it comes to copyright, it has to be same business. If it is the same business generally, then it is more of a problem. If there are two different segments altogether, it should not cause a problem. But yeah, you get the benefit of a prominent name, Amity. That is what it is called. Similarly here, the ISKCON name is very popular. So the ISKCON Apparel Private Limited used their name. So the plaintiff contended that by selling garments under the name of ISKCON, the defendant was infringing their trademark and attempting to pass off his brand as being associated with the plaintiff group. So the plaintiffs sought to get their marks declared as a well-known trademark. So two things over here. The society wanted the name to be declared as a well-known trademark under the court of law, and also pass an injunction that ISKCON Apparel should change their name. So what did the court say? Next slide. What did the court held in this case was the court declared that in the present scenario, a clear case of trademark infringement has been established, and hence it ordered the defendants, that is ISKCON Apparels, to refrain using the plaintiff's mark. It also concluded that the plaintiff's mark satisfied all the statutory requirements of a well-known trademark, and thus the court declared it as such. So ISKCON became officially, their name was approved or declared to be a well-known trademark. We should try to avoid to use the name ISKCON when we start any business, because these things may happen. That's the chances are there. Yes, next slide. Yeah, after all these discussions, and I hope after the case studies which I have just explained, I could convey the basics and enlighten you about the IPR topic when it comes to what is copyright of the creators, trademarks, patent, designs, GI. So there are few more when it comes to IPR protection, and in the near future we are expecting few more. So it will come sooner or later. As we know, the robotics laws are coming into picture, the cyber laws, we have the space act coming up into picture. As and when technology changes, time changes, when there will be requirement, definitely there will be more IPRs which will come into picture. So we have to be ready for it. Okay, because it needs to be protected. As I said, it is my asset, it is my intellectual property. So I need protection. The government realizes its responsibility to protect what is yours. It should not be exploited. Yeah, we'll move on to the activity. If we all are present with us, maybe just I'll give you a few seconds to think over it. So which of the IPR protection can we seek? If it is a biotech industry, they're going for modification of genus of plants, animal to identify causes of diseases, assays for testing of various diseases, manufacture of vaccines. How, if you are working with this industry and if you want to protect your IPR, what are the different protection you would register? You will go for registering under which all IPR, intellectual property rights. Just identify. This is just a similar, just a test to understand whether we have got the concept of the IPR just now, which we studied.
Yes.
Can we move on?
Sorry, just interrupting you for a second. We have the chat enabled now. You guys can put your answers on the chat box.
People from this industry would prepare.
Ma'am, some of the participants have written the answer as manufacture of vaccines.
Yeah, see, no, my question was, could be, maybe I'm not putting it properly. See, these are all the intellectual properties, all whichever written is the intellectual property. But now you will have to seek protection under certain, as I said, can you go for a registration or protection under copyright?
Okay,
How
so
will
your
you
question,
protect these things? How
right?
will
Your
you
question
protect?
is whether we need to copyright, patent, or trademark it, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So we have
That is what means. Suppose you have done some modification of genus of plant and animals. There is something I didn't explain over here. There is something called plant variety. Many things, as I said, are not included here because this was just a small session. So I didn't take a lot of things. So these industries can venture into different protection. You can, protect yourself as these are your IPRs.
yes, ma'am. We
So
have
yes, yes, I can see the
so,
answers from the chat. See, it will depend. As I said, copyright and trademark law says there is no need really to register. Once I'll give you a case study why there is no need to register trademark, but we do it because this saves a lot of legal hassles. There was a brand, okay, he became very well known and a very big brand. Okay, suddenly his research team found out that in some area, remote area, somebody was using the similar brand name which he was using for his product, and maybe the product was also similar in one of the places. I'll just take maybe in Bihar, in one of the towns. Okay, so now he went to court and said, we are such a big brand name, this person is using my brand name, please stop this person. Yeah, there are questions also dropping. I'll just complete my case study. So when this small person, he went to court, he said, sir, this person, he may be a big brand name, whatever it is, my brand could be small, I have my area of business, I am not biting in his profits. He's a very big company. I'm in Bihar maybe, just in a particular city or a town, and people know me, I'm popular here, having a sufficient amount of business, and I can prove you that I was here before this person started his business, maybe by way of brochures, letters, or some evidence of people in that particular locality, that I am here before, I am here since 1980s and you have just come in 1990s. So I am maybe 10 decade older than you in this industry, and I don't have branches, I don't do branding, I don't do marketing. So he proved to the court that before this person could register himself under IPR, this person was not tech savvy, he was not having any internet ID, everything. So court was convinced ki nahi, two people can think alike, okay? And this person is not moving out, he is not doing marketing, sales, and in fact this person rightfully has the ownership of the same name and the product, because he's here, he's been doing the business, maybe his father was doing the business and he has continued with the business. So the act says this person is protected by default, the trademark, and he is copyrighted right from the inception. Only thing is he had to prove it. Okay, so this big giant cannot force him to close down. If this person would have started his business after he started in 1990s and he started somewhere in 1995, then he would have to change his business altogether, change the name, and even close down the business for that matter. So this is the two different case studies. Okay, there was a live example of this case study where the IPR said it will protect you under trademark and copyright, though you have not registered it due to some reason. Maybe you didn't want to, and you're not. First thing is, if he's misusing your name knowingly. Second, if he is biting away your commercial things, means there is a heavy loss of revenue. So two things the court did not see. There was no loss of revenue to this person, much bigger giant. Neither did he copy it. So this person won the case. So this also happens. Yeah. Can we move on to the next exercise now? Next slide. Yeah. So looking at this, yeah, this is you will protect the logo and the name under which IPR? This is a very simple one. Which IPR protection will you seek? Suppose if you are part of Air India and if you need to protect this logo and the name of the company. So under which IPR will you register, seek registration, protection basically? Will it be patent? Will it be copyright? Will it be trademark? Will it be designs? If I use it in my letterhead normally. Yeah, so this is a, so yes, so this is very clear. Yes. Yeah, you have to identify basically, for example, if I want to secure my physical or tangible property from the risk of fire or theft, so I cannot go for general insurance. I have to cover it, risk cover, which I will take. The riders will be for earthquake or fire. If it is terrorism related, then I'll go for terrorism. So I cannot claim. So this is a perfect thing. So second one, which is simple and perfect, where everybody could answer. Most of us understand what is trademark. It is differentiating you. It is your brand name, your image. Okay, so which now, yeah, the protection duration with regard to trademark is basically 10 years, which can be renewed every 10 years. Suppose if you have not renewed your logo or trademark for many years, somebody else can use it. There is a time frame for many years. If you have stopped using, the company is closed down, it's not been using, then the old company cannot file a suit against you. Somebody else can use this. Yeah, can we move on to the next slide? A similar case study. Yeah. So when we talk about, let's go to fashion industry a little bit of creativity. So creation goes through various steps, which can be broadly divided into, first is your conception, the ideas, design, and then developing the sketch work. Then the commercial part comes, which is manufacturing. So at each of these stages, there are works which are created that can be protected in law. So the question is in the next slide. Can we have the next slide, ma'am? Yeah. So insert the relevant IPR protections. So it's a drawing or a sketch you have made, which can be created as the first conception of a product. Now, it is a subject matter of where will you seek protection, first wala. Second says the shape and the aesthetic look given to a product is protectable under which act. Then comes the next stage, the final product and the brand which is given to the product are protectable under which act. So you have to now identify the different protections you can seek in different stages with regard to your artwork. If you have understood copyright and designs, so there's a thin line between designs and copyright, and I had explained this. Yeah, can you move to the next slide? So this is the answers as some of them have mentioned. So when it comes to drawing or a sketch, which can be created as the first conception of a product, is your copyright subject matter. The shape and the aesthetic look given to the product is protectable under the Designs Act. It talks about the lines, contours, color, shape is your Designs Act. And the final product and the brand which is given to the product are protectable under your Trademarks Act. So if the shape is unique and can be identified exclusively with a specific product, then the shape is also protectable. Like the bottle of the Coca-Cola, they have, for the shape of the bottle, they have sought protection under IPR. Yeah, we'll move on to another small similar exercise. Now, this is one product which may have many IP rights. So identify the IPR protection the company can seek. You can move on to the next slide, ma'am. This will give a little more clear idea. Ma'am, you can move to the next slide. So here we have defined a few things for easy understanding. So the innovative technical feature of the product are protected by series of embedded computer programs controlling the operation, the aesthetic design of CD player, big companies normally do these protections because it is of great value. Normally small players don't go in for registration as the cost of registration is high and the time duration taken for registration is much more. Basically the problem is if I'm a small player, SME basically, if I try to do registration of my designs or if I go for registration under IPR, it takes a little longer duration to get registered. And by then, the research team of my competitor is so fast, they come up with the design so quickly. By the time I get the registration certificate, they are come up with a new product. So I feel I should not waste time on going for registration and protecting under patents or design because that definitely I will lead people, I will need to shell out money. That's the reason many people don't go for registration or protection under these things. Just to support my answer, I will just give you a small example. If you see a lot of jewelries, I have seen maybe Tanishq brand ka, if you see these gold jewelry, the designs which they come up, immediately in the market, there is a lower range segment jewelry which comes into the market. Similar bangles, maybe you find it in train, you will find it in some other shops or the other, a similar copy where they try to, this will reduce the value of the what do you call the creator's invention or the exclusiveness or the charm of the jewelry and the value which I'm wearing, which should be exclusive when I'm paying so much of money, it goes down. A similar design comes into the market and the market is flooded with similar semi-precious or similar designs. Now this is not really good, but this is what I have seen. Similar with branded shirts ranging from 1,000 plus rupees, I have seen. You'll get a make or a copy immediately in the market, same color, same designs, and nobody's bothered. So why do big brands don't go and file a suit against these small players? Because they say there's a lot of wastage of time and money. They can't keep on, filing suits. The court will be full of so many petitions. So TBZ, when they come out with a brand, some jewelries which are sponsored in movies by these big brands, if you see the big budget movies, the designs, immediately you'll get a copy of those designs in various price ranges. Now what happens? The value of the design diminishes. I don't feel the pride, I don't feel like shelling out money for those designs because immediately somebody else is wearing the similar design. That is, that is the value of the design is so less. So this is what is happening. So today is a very competitive world when it comes to IPR, and it's very, very important what to do. So what happens every 3 months, every 6 months, these creative people or designers, there's a lot of demand for IPR, a lot of demand for creative people. So there are big brands which they feel, okay, if they are copying me, that means I'm a big brand. Let them copy my style of, by the time they copy and make a replica of my designs, I'll come up with a new designing. So there is a group of research team or creative people, 6 months prior, they start working on the design. So now people will be, their team will work, R&D team will work, creative team will work for summer collection or a winter collection, or maybe for Diwali collection, they will start working right now only. Or maybe for December, some people try to make designs season wise and they'll do it before only. So they're not bothered if people are coming up with a copy, it's being used or misused, they feel it's okay. Rather than spending time over there, they spend money on a lot of research and creative artwork. So a lot of the market is opened for creative people who can do a lot of designing artwork. So they don't bother much about who's going to copy their artwork and all. They start rather being proactive. They start working 3 months, 6 months prior for the next launches. Okay, but then again, it has to be a trade secret. And by doing this, somebody else steals the creative person. So he will take all the creative designs to the other designers. So this is why IPR, the confidential information trade secret, plays a very important role under IPR. So we need to protect them, basically. Can we move to the next slide, ma'am? Again, this is a continuation of the same topic. So brand used to market it can be protected as addition. We'll go to the answers, ma'am. That's okay. Yeah. So rightly said by some of them, the innovation could be patents, the computer programs, the creative programs could be protected under copyright, the designs under the ID, that is industrial design, the look, the shape, the contour of the design, the color, the shape, size, all those things under the industrial design. Next. The brand, as I said, layman language uses the word brand name. Trademark, when you apply for registration, when you have paid the fees, you have applied for registration, you will use the word TM above your logo, TM. Once you get the registration certificate, that TM should change to R. So that is the difference between TM and R people use next to their logo. Yes, then of course, the trade secret, which I said is very important, the customer's list, the manufacturing processes, and the confidential information, which we used for the CDs. There is a bonus to this answer. Next slide. The inventor of CD may choose to grant the authorization, that is given license, to a number of companies to use the CD technology in exchange of payment, thus acquiring an additional income for the license. So this is the power of your intellectual property, and this needs to be protected. So everybody should know what is IPR, why it should be protected, and what could be the requirements, and what is the position, standings, and other things. Yes, ma'am. This is, I think we have come to an end almost. This is a tree showing you various connectivity to patents, copyrights, trademarks, service mark, the literature work. I hope this session was informative to all of us, and I could convey the basic concept with regard to IPR. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. We can take questions from the participants.
Yes, sure. Anybody would like to understand something, where whatever I can guide you, I can help you out. If not, I can write back to you after some time.
Ma'am, should I stop the screen share, or we need the PPT?
No, we don't need the PPT.
Yeah, I'll just stop the screen share then. Yeah.
Ask the participants to write the questions in the chat box, Julie, ma'am.
Yes, the participants may please write their queries and questions on the chat box. They were all
verbally, if they want to ask, they can come on mic, not an issue.
So in case someone wants to unmute themselves and ask a question, that is also possible. So whatever. Um,
Juhi,
yeah,
you could take a couple of questions from the chat.
yes,
Let's
right, I'll do that.
wind up at 12. Huh? Exactly.
Exactly. Um, Ma'am, can we take the questions on the chat box first?
Yeah, not an issue. You can.
Yeah, just a moment. So we already have a lot of compliments pouring in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so there's a question by Jaya Ranjan. Ma'am, could you please tell us what's the process of filing an IPR as an individual?
Yes, again, I would like to explain this. If you're into the field of creative, okay, and because the question is little vague, individuals, either if you are a person who's writing a book, okay, and you need to protect your book, for example, then you will seek protection under Copyright Act. So the office is in Delhi. Right now, there is a website also. You can log in. There is a minimum fees of 500 if you're an individual, okay. You will have to either produce a CD, upload your PDF, and uh, you will have to send it to the, you'll have to pay the fees. There is a format which you have to fill up, okay, and get yourself registered under Copyright Act, stating that this is my work and I need to get myself copyrighted. So there will be few questions from the officers, the registrar's office under copyright. Once they are satisfied, they will give you the certificate. But there is a process. It usually takes a year or so, because they have to compare if there nothing similar to it, or it is an original. As I said, it is the expression of idea which will be protected, and the work has to be original. It should not be a copied one. So that they will have to take time, the copyright person. Second could be, if you want to go for creative things, if you're a business person, okay, and if you've invented something, you will have to register under the Patents Act. Or if you have a company, like I said, MET and a logo, you want to register this as your trademark. When you start your own business, you have to write to the trademark registry. So for all the IPR protection, there are different acts. There are different legal registration fees in different websites, and there are individual registrar's office where you will need to file. So trademarks, there is a different office altogether when it comes to trademark. Copyrights, there's a different office. Patents is a different office. There are different sorts of forms. So under trademark, there are different classes also. Like you would like to use this on your letterhead, you will use for promotion. So you will need a little bit help from some legal person. So there are different stages when it comes to GI. Individual cannot go. It has to be a group. As I said, it is Kolhapuri Chappal. So the state name Kolhapuri. So there has to be authenticity. So it will be a group of association, traders, for example, those who make those chappals in Kolhapur. They will file that registration. The government apply GI. So you can be a part of it and then you can sell it. So no individual can do. So when you say individual, you can go for trademark, you can go for patent, you can go for copyright. But they are different acts altogether for all the IPR protection. Trade secrets, you cannot register. It's just protected under the law of contract. Somebody breaches, you have to file under the law of contracts.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is by Dr. Ravindra Hazare, and he says, in which category the generic medicine fall? Can the license after some period be revived?
Yeah, if it is under patent, see what the patent law says. You see, today if I've done some invention for 20 years, it is protected by law. Then it is open to public. Like what was so valuable, like people should know. So it should be used by all. So patent, it is open to everybody, to public, but you get it only for 20 years. Then anybody and everybody can use. Example could be, if I say the crocodile shoe company had that typical crocodile shape, so they had protected under their designs and other things, but then people are copying, misusing it. So now the Crocs has become, people know it by Crocs, but the design is of that particular brand. So now it's become a generic name. Okay, so medicines also, the formula can be copyrighted. Okay, formula, but again depends, if it is for medical use, industrial purpose, as I said, if it is not for individual purpose, short people, it goes to industry. So where do you fit in? So each and every IPR has a term duration. Some things can be renewed, some things cannot be. For example, I'll tell you the duration for copyright. It is the lifetime of the author, and 60 years plus you get the protection. Then it is open to public to use it, because that is what the law says. So far nothing has been said, it is open. When it comes to trademark, it is 10 years, it can be renewed every 10 years. Okay, you can do the renewal after every 10 years by paying the fees. If you don't pay the fees after 2 or 3 renewals, then you may lose the right. When it comes to your patent, I said it could be 20 years. When it comes to industrial design, it is 10 years with the addition of 5 years after renewal of fees, but maximum in India it is 15 years. Each protection in every country, it is separate. It is not a common law, though it has percolated from the WIPO, from the UN, from the different conventions. All member nations of WTO, UN have normally follow the guidelines. They give the guidelines, but the term and duration and certain things are separate in each country. Only the Copyright Act, you can seek protection world over, because this is as per the Berne Convention. Rest others, if you want to have a business somewhere else, you have to seek the copyright from that particular country. Okay, so medicines also can be protected under copyright. The method of it can also, even it can be patented, but then it will be open only for 20 years. It will be protected, it will be open to the general public. Anybody and everybody can use it. As I said, when it comes to patent, there has to be novelty. Something which is known to people cannot be patented. It has to be something which is very unique, which is novel, and that parameters will be on the authorities, the patent authority, to decide whether whatever you are showing, the paperwork, artwork, whether they are satisfied. If they are not satisfied, if they feel this is nothing novel, you have just changed a few lines here and there, this is just common, they can reject your work. They may not protect you. They may say no, it is not novel. So we cannot argue on that point. When it comes to registration, there are certain parameters laid, and there are eminent persons who judge you. So we have to follow those parameters. We can't go beyond that.
Yes, ma'am, there are also a couple of questions more, but I think due to shortage of time, we won't be really able to take them right now, but we can probably forward it to you in case you don't have an issue.
Yeah, you can share them, my phone number. They can call me up for anything, not a problem. I can attend to them.
Yeah, because we're just running a little short of time.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have a lot of compliments pouring in to you.
Thank you. I hope it is clear.
Yes.
If I'm able to convey the difference between the fixed asset and the IPR. There are two properties, so take care of both the properties. And today's world, IPR, very, very important, especially for the creative people. This is your property, your mind's creation, need to be protected.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for this enriching and informative session, ma'am. I, on behalf of Amity School of Languages, Amity University, Maharashtra, would like to thank you for your valuable time and also for accepting our invitation to be the guest speaker at such a short notice and fulfilling all our expectations. In addition to this, I would also like to thank participants for the active participation and for being with us throughout the session and answering the questions.
Thank you. It was my pleasure taking the lecture. That is really thankful, and I enjoy attending and taking lectures. You can invite me if you feel there's any topic which I can take. definitely I'll be more than happy to be a part of MIT University.
Of course, ma'am. We look forward to having you on campus once things are back on track. We would definitely
Sure, sure.
invite you and
Definitely. It will be my
speaker
pleasure,
for
madam.
another enriching session.
Yes, anytime, ma'am. Anytime. Anytime.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Over to you, Susan, ma'am.
Thank you, Juhi. Ma'am, it was indeed a very informative session. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for having imparted this knowledge to all our participants and here at ASM. And we really appreciate your initiative in accepting our invitation, and over a very short notice, you prepared yourself and got over the technical glitches to be there with us. We are highly indebted to you, ma'am. Thank you so much. God bless. Definitely in future, we will access your help. We will be needing your guidance. So thank you very much once again. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks.
Same to you.
Yeah.
Okay, dear participants, as you know that we break for lunch now, and exactly at 1 o'clock we shall be back with yet another impressive session of Dr. Prashant Mothe. He will be joining us exactly at 1 or a little before 1. So please have a quick grab at your lunch. We break for lunch now and come back at exactly at 1 o'clock. Then again, after a 1.5 hour session, let's say, yes, 1.5 hour session or so, we shall be again continuing with a very important session. And as I said, you are invited, your presence is solicited, and we definitely would not like to go ahead with this function without you, because you've been a part and parcel of our development program, our faculty development program, and we want you to be there in the finale. And as I reminded you yesterday, there were a few names that we were inviting, and we had accepted. We wanted you to speak and give us the feedback about our faculty development program. And when the time comes, please come up with your response, and we shall look forward to that. Well, I think that's all for the announcement. We shall resume exactly at 1 without delay, because we have a lot many programs lined up subsequently. So, well, that's it. Yes, ma'am. Shall we wind up, Manjari, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so see you all at 1 or perhaps a little before 1. So you'll have to excuse this short break that we are allowing, because it is because of so many programs that we have lined up, and we do not want to hold you back for a long in the evening. So please bear with us and please cooperate. Thank you very much. See you at 1 o'clock. Thank you.